Good morning. I never thought I'd be a dairy farmer in a million years. In 2013, I quit my job in marketing to invest my life savings in an industry I didn't know very much about and which seemed at odds with my natural skill set. When I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2022, everything started to fall into place. It's why I'm impulsive, entrepreneurial, and unafraid to take risks. It's also why I struggled in an office environment and needed a job that was different every day. Farming has been an unexpectedly brilliant fit for my skills, and it's given me amazing opportunities like speaking to you here today. And that's true for a lot of neurodivergent people. We've long suspected that neurodiversity is more common in the farming population, but we've never discussed why that might be or what it means for the industry. That's what I hope to change with my Nuffield Scholarship. But first, let's step back a moment. What actually is neurodiversity? The movement started in the 90s and seeks to understand conditions like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and many others besides as natural variations in the human brain rather than medical disorders that need to be cured. It celebrates the unique strengths that these different ways of thinking bring, whilst acknowledging the challenges that neurodivergent people face, largely because of living in a world that has been designed by and for neurotypical people. In farming, we've come a long way when it comes to discussing things like mental health, but there's still a lot of stigma and misunderstanding about neurodiversity. When we think about some of the challenges we face as an industry, succession planning, rural isolation, poor mental health, not a great record on health and safety, and an ever-increasing burden of paperwork, all of which are people and communication issues at heart, I can't believe that no one has considered yet what part neurodiversity could be playing. So I set out to answer 3 questions. Firstly, is it true that neurodiversity is more common in the farming population? And secondly, if it is true, what can we do to better support the neurodivergent people in our farms and businesses to achieve their full potential? And thirdly, what unique skills and perspectives do neurodivergent people bring that could help us to solve some of the challenges our industry faces? Thanks to the generous sponsorship of McDonald's UK and Ireland, I was able to travel to Ireland, Scotland, the USA, and Australia to find some answers. On the first question, I worked with Farmers Weekly magazine on their Level the Field campaign to run the first nationwide survey on the prevalence and attitudes to neurodiversity in agriculture anywhere in the world. We had over 1,700 responses, and 33% of people identified as neurodivergent. That's more than double the rate of the general population. The survey highlighted some of the challenges that neurodivergent people face. Around a third of them felt that attitudes towards them were negative, and around half had faced barriers to getting a job or career progression. 4 in 5 had experienced challenges with their mental health as a result of their neurodivergence, and 1 in 5 of them severely. On a positive note, almost all respondents associated their neurodivergence with strengths that were beneficial to their farming careers, most commonly creativity, problem solving, and attention to detail. The biggest barrier to making farms more inclusive wasn't time or cost, it was simply that farmers felt they wouldn't know what to do. So clearly, there's a lot to do. The good news is that on my travels, I saw brilliant examples of farms, businesses, and education and training providers making neurodiversity inclusion work. In Australia, I visited the only neurodiversity hiring program on a commercial livestock farm anywhere in the world, at Sun Pork Farms, the country's biggest pork producer. The work in the pig sheds isn't glamorous. It's noisy, smelly, and not particularly well paid. But it is highly skilled work. It needs people with attention to detail who really care about the animals. CEO Robert van Barneveld realized there could be an opportunity to match an underemployed cohort of people who had those essential skills with meaningful jobs on the farm, and the Autism and Agriculture program was born. With the support of a regional charity, they reached out to the autism community, many of whom would never have considered applying to a traditional job advert because of negative experiences they'd had in the past. There were no CVs or sit-down interviews, which are really a test of social skills. Instead, they asked 2 questions. What could you bring to working in an animal environment? and what could working with animals do for you? And people could answer however they liked, with a letter or with a video or with photographs. They then invited candidates to a paid training program where they could find out if they had the skills for the job and, more importantly, if they enjoyed the work. They set up a simulated piggery in a town hall where people could experience the sights, sounds, and even smells of the farm in a safe environment at their own pace. The successful candidates then progressed to a 2-week training program in essential pig care skills on the farm. And it was a success. Over 70% of the original cohort employed in 2018 are still working at Sunpork today, and some have gone on to buy their own homes, travel overseas, and become financially independent. At Rising Tide Car Wash in Florida, I saw another business successfully employing autistic people in a hot, noisy workplace where attention to detail was key. By implementing lean management techniques, they have created a workplace that is user-friendly and accessible to all. Again, there is no formal interview process, just a training program that focuses on the skills needed for the job, and an environment that is designed to set people up for success. Color-coded buckets for tools and towels, QR codes with prompts and checklists, and the $1 million quality station, which shows exactly what standard of cleanliness is expected, leave no room for uncertainty. These systems have made Rising Tide a great place for anyone to work, and they could easily be implemented on farms. A serious fangirl moment on my travels was meeting Dr. Temple Grandin, Professor of Animal Sciences at Colorado State University and probably the most famous autistic woman in the world. Dr. Grandin's unique ability to think in pictures and to see the world from a cow's perspective have enabled her to revolutionize the field of cattle handling. Today, around half of the cattle slaughtered in the USA go through a handling system that she designed, and the curved races and rubber flooring that we think of as standard are all ideas that she pioneered. But she faced many barriers on her way to success, not least being a woman in a heavily male-dominated industry. She overcame those barriers by showing people what she could do, carrying a portfolio of her work everywhere she went, her technical drawings, her magazine articles, that demonstrated her skills to people who would have written her off because of her unconventional manner. She speaks powerfully about the importance of giving young people the chance to try different careers and find their skills and passions. Visiting her aunt's ranch as a teenager was a turning point in her life. Without that experience, she may never have discovered her calling. Places like TACT, teaching the autism community trades in Denver, Woodstock Farm in Queensland, and Kildalton College in Ireland are all playing their part in building pathways for young people of all abilities to find meaningful careers. Some neurodivergent people will never enter the workforce, but initiatives like Social Farming in Ireland, Camp Hill Village Trust in the UK, and Mustang Acres in California showed me that farms are places where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. So what did I learn? In answer to my questions, firstly, yes, neurodiversity probably is more common in the farming community. And secondly, many people are open to making their farms more inclusive, but the biggest barrier isn't cost or time, it's simply knowing where to begin. And thirdly, neurodivergent people bring exactly the skills our industry needs: creativity, attention to detail, and problem solving. So what do we do now? This isn't about pushing more people to get diagnoses or disclose their labels at work. It's about understanding people as they are and creating a space where they feel safe to express their needs and supported to access whatever accommodations are helpful to them. When we get rid of our preconceptions about the type of people who can and want to do farm work and focus on the skills needed for the job, we open up opportunities to a much broader range of people who can excel in unexpected ways. Inclusion isn't about lowering standards, it's about being crystal clear about what good looks like and then creating a structure where everyone can succeed. That's just good management, and it makes farms better places for everyone to work. The future of farming depends on diverse thinkers. If we want to solve our biggest challenges, we need to welcome every kind of brain into agriculture. When we do, a rising tide really does lift all boats. Thank you very much.